And we are back here on the Washington Journal. Joining us from Capitol Hill this morning is Stacy Plaskett, delegate from the Virgin Islands. She's also the ranking member, the top Democrat on the Select Subcommittee on Weaponization of the Federal Government, and a member of the Intelligence Committee. Stacy Plaskett, let's begin with your role on the Intelligence Committee. From the indictment against former President Donald Trump for taking the classified documents from the White House, it notes the classification markings that were found in his office. In his office were 27, the number of documents with top secret markings, 6 of them, secret 18, confidential 3. In the storage room, there were 75 documents. 11 of them had the top secret marking, 36 secret, and 28 confidential. Can you tell us what protocols you have to follow as a member of the Intelligence Committee to view these types of documents?
Thanks so much for having me. That's a great question. Of course, a president is going to be viewing documents in a different way than a member of Congress. Often they may be in his office, but all documents are kept secure in a secure, very confined location once they have been reviewed. When I'm in the intelligence skiff, as we call it, which is a very secure area of the Capitol, members cannot bring cell phones in, cannot bring electronic bit phones or any of those kinds of things into the area for fear that some of the information might get out, that there may be those that have put devices on our own devices to be able to take that. And once we leave, even notes, the notes that I take as a member of the Intelligence Committee are kept right there. And I make it a point as I walk out to go through my bag and make sure that I haven't taken anything out with me accidentally. And then once I leave the secure area, I'm able to collect my phone and other electronics that might have been on my person, that I travel with once I've left the location.
What have you been told as a member of this committee about having any types of these documents outside of a secure area? And what would the president have been told about, and the White House staff, about once they leave a certain area and the laws that are related to having these documents?
Sure. Well, it's inappropriate for us to have the documents outside of the locations. I'm not sure what kind of briefing the president received, but we all are aware as elected officials, as individuals who are viewing top secret material, that having that outside of the possession of the location in which we are viewing them or reading them can present national security threats, can compromise our national security. When you look back, Greta, at the documents that are outlined in the indictment, you'll see that there's a discussion that some of these are related to nuclear weapons of the United States, related to our vulnerabilities and potential vulnerabilities of our allies, and also information that has been collected by human sources. So having this exposed to potentially other individuals can really endanger not just the national security of our country, but the security of individuals who have given and dedicated their lives to ensure that we as Americans are kept safe. Those individuals who are out there on the field, it also compromises the way in which we collect information, our data collection. Once that's exposed, whole systems may need to be created, and new systems created to be able to make sure that they're safe and we're able to get the information we need to keep every American safe.
Listen to the argument being made by the former president and your Republican colleagues as well about this case versus other times that other officials have had these classified documents outside of a secured area.
They did absolutely nothing in Hillary's case. The FBI and DOJ largely did not issue subpoenas. They did not use a grand jury. They did not execute search warrants. And Comey declared that there was no problem. He said no reasonable prosecutor would ever bring a case like that. She knocked out 33,000 emails. And Hillary wasn't indicted. She should have been. But she wasn't indicted. She was protected by the Democrats. Biden was not indicted, and what he's done is terrible. You know, they like to say, well, what Trump did. Only Donald Trump is indicted, and they take one charge and they turn it into 36 charges. You saw that. Everybody was amazed. Lawyers on television, you know, they're not usually the best lawyers, but some are very good. They're saying we've never seen anything like it. They took one charge and they made it 36 different times. And we have a thug who's in charge. This is a political hit job. Republicans are treated far differently at the Justice Department than Democrats.
Congresswoman Stacy Plaskett, given what you said before we listened to the president and what he just said, is there a double standard?
Oh, absolutely not. You know, I think the President Donald Trump, has been afforded such grace that would not be afforded to other individuals in this instance. You know, when he tries to do these false equivalencies by creating what he did similar to what, you know, Secretary of State then Hillary Clinton or Vice President Pence or President Biden, absolutely different. And what is the main difference? The main difference is that when those individuals were found to have documents and were told by archives or any other lawful government agency to return them, they did. And President Trump did not. And not only did he not return them when requested lawfully by the National Archives, by a subpoena to do that, he in fact lied about the documents and had his attorneys lie about the document, had staff lie about the documents, and that is against the law. Those are the reasons why he had to face a grand jury, and they are the ones who indicted him. Let's remember, it is not a special counsel who was the person who indicted him. It was a jury of his peers. A grand jury is made up of individuals, in this case in Southern Florida, which, as I recall, went his way in the last election, voted for him. Those are the individuals who indicted him on these charges. And the charges were for the 31 documents that he kept that were in fact classified, and additionally for obstructing justice by not returning them, and then also making false claims about those. Those are the things that not Vice President Pence, Hillary Clinton, nor President Biden made false claims or obstructed the return of the documents when they were found to have them.
We will get to calls. Gary, who's in Tennessee, a Republican, is up first. Good morning, Gary.
Good morning. Thank you. Ma'am, how can you sit there and tell us there's no double standard when Joe Biden had documents as a senator? It's illegal. Not to mention the FBI investigating the pedophile Anthony Weiner found documents on his computer, his personal computer, that came from Hillary's aide, Abedin, whatever her name is. There's a huge double standard. So you ask those of us who do like President Trump to be serious about this when it's all been swept under the rug. What about Hillary's people all taking a hammer to their cell phones, beating the hard drives out of them?
Okay, Gary, let's get a response.
So the response, sir, and thank you for calling in, is that there is not a double standard. Individuals may, in fact, have documents that they're not supposed to have. And if President Trump had returned the documents when they were requested of him, we would not be where we are today. But the difference between President Trump and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton was that when asked to return the documents, he did not. She returned the documents. President Biden returned the documents. President Trump believes that he is above the law, that there is a separate standard for him, and that he doesn't have to do what every other American like you or like me or like other elected have to do. And he lied about it got his poor attorney to certify that, in fact, those documents had been turned over when we have recordings from him saying that he knew that the documents were not turned over and lied to the lawful request to return those documents. That's the difference.
We'll go to Rhode Island. Christine is a Democratic caller there. Hi, Christine.
Good morning. Thank you, Stacy, for your service. I just want to mention, while he was in office, he didn't want anyone to take notes. He would flush paper down the toilet. He would rip them up on the floor and have staff pick them up, and people have to put these things together. Not only that, I have something to say. I don't care if he's a Democrat, Republican, Independent, Purple, from the moon. The people in the House, in Congress, should know the law. We're supposed to pick the best of the best, but apparently our voting system, our votings are not being watched at. It just seems like he's promoting hatred and division, and I don't want to badger him because I felt the same way when Hillary. And I understand people have 401ks, they got money in the, but it shouldn't be this way. People, open your eyes. This is fascism. Look up. He admires dictators. But that's all I got to say. So God bless everyone.
All right, Christine.
Thank you for that. And Christine, we all care about this country. And the previous caller, I'm sure, cares about this country as well. But what we have to ensure is that there's not a double standard for individuals. And one of the things that I'm concerned with, Greta, as the ranking member of the Weaponization Committee, is that there is a creation on the side of my colleagues across the aisle, Jim Jordan and others, of making Americans believe that our FBI, that our Department of Justice is not operating in a manner that is protective of all Americans. We're about the truth. And we cannot use committees in Congress, taxpayer dollars, to support one individual, Donald Trump. There are so many things for us to investigate, so many things for us to have oversight over. Inflation, the things that the GOP, the Republican Party, said that they were concerned with when they wanted to take control of the House, are not being addressed right now. What they are doing is spending an inordinate amount of taxpayer dollars and congressional time to protect Donald Trump.
A headline from Axios recently: House GOP responds to Trump indictment with renewed FBI scrutiny, referring to the chair of the committee that you're the top Democrat on, Jim Jordan, sending a letter to the AG last week seeking information about the Mar-a-Lago search. What are you expecting from this committee? What type of hearings are coming up, and who will be called to testify?
Well, Leader Jeffries said at the beginning of this Congress, when this select committee was formed, that this is the committee that is there to protect insurrectionists and to protect Donald Trump. And unfortunately, he seems to be very, very much a sage and being able to see into the future, because that's exactly what's happening in this. We've had the Republicans said were whistleblowers who turned out to, in fact, be individuals who had received FBI clearances, who were using their status and their positions in the FBI to protect insurrectionists, to give out and leak confidential information that they had as FBI agents to the public, to the media, and to others. We have seen that this committee is being used, in fact, to protect Donald Trump, to try out conspiracy theories before the 2024 election, and to make Americans feel unsecure about the rule of law in this country, which is, as your previous caller said, one of the beginnings of a fascist state.
David is in Staunton, Virginia, an independent. Hi, David.
Good morning, C-SPAN. Thanks for taking my call. I think Trump's problems are self-inflicted. It would have been much easier for him to just return the documents, and he could have done that and avoided this problem. However, I think there's a different rule for presidents than there is for senators, vice presidents, and congresspeople. as far as removing documents from the SCIF. I think the president has the ability to do that. I don't think the vice presidents or congressmen have the ability to do that. So I'd like your guest to respond to that question. And then secondly, with 320 million people in this country, the best two candidates for president are Biden and Trump. Come on, people. There are a lot more qualified and better people able to run this country than either one of those two people. Thanks.
Well, thank you so much, caller. And you're correct that the president does view documents in a manner that's different than we as members of Congress do. As you've seen, the president, of course, is briefed on confidential information in the Oval Office, in locations in the White House, going to the locations and the agencies where that information resides. I've viewed documents not inside of a SCIF, but out in the field where, CIA station houses are in foreign countries, etc. But you were correct that we could have avoided this once he had the documents, recognizing that the documents were with him after he left office, when he ceased being president of the United States, and after over a year of the National Archives requesting the documents repeatedly for him. That is when a subpoena was finally issued for him to return the documents. He still, in fact, obstructed justice by not returning the documents that he had in his possession, and here we are today. And we need to let justice do what it's going to do and continue to let him have his legal process. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty, and that will be done by a jury of his peers in South Florida, and the rest of us need to go on about doing the people's business. That's what the Democratic caucus is here to do. We're trying to work on legislation that is about everyday Americans and how we can make their lives better. And we are not about using this House, this hallowed place, Congress, to protect one individual and their pursuit of power.
Our guest this morning is Delegate Stacy Plaskett, Democrat, represents the Virgin Islands, as you've heard, is the top Democrat on the Select Subcommittee on Weaponization of the Federal Government, and also a member of the Intelligence Committee. Congresswoman Plaskett, how did you vote on the motion to table a measure that would have punished your colleague, Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff?
Well, as you are probably aware, members of territories do not vote on final passage. We vote when the committee is in the committee of the whole on amendments on the floor, but not on final passage. And of course, I would vote not to censure or not to vote in favor of tabling that motion. Adam Schiff has done his job, and I think that it's a frightening position that we put other members of Congress in when we try and attempt to stifle their voices. I do not agree with much of what my colleague Jim Jordan says on the committee, but to stop him from doing his job and being able to voice his opinion as an elected official by his constituents is an inappropriate move by myself as a member of Congress.
And there were 20 Republicans in the majority and most Democrats who voted to table this punishment of your colleague.
Yes, and that means tabling means that we're taking it off of the table, so to speak, to remove it from the vote, from us voting on the final bill, to kind of put it to the side. And that's, I think, the appropriate thing to do. I'm concerned with my colleagues to the far right. Individuals who are trying to weaponize this entire body, Congress, for their own benefit, for the benefit of power of Donald Trump and their own agenda. We need to get back to the business of the people, and Speaker McCarthy needs to get control of his conference so that we can do just that.
All right, Brian's in West Union, Ohio, Republican. Go ahead, Brian.
Thank you for having me on. First thing, I'm going to answer the guy's question that she failed to answer. It is I'm not defending Donald Trump in any way, but I'm going to stand up for the Constitution. Vice presidents and congressmen and women do not have the authority to just declassify anything. And if she talks about how she gets these, she can't get them out of the skid, how did Biden get them all? But the second thing is that she said that when Donald Trump was subpoenaed, he didn't want to turn over classified documents, but the other people do. The other people did, like Pence and Hillary and Biden and all them. Well, I don't know what planet she lives on, but I know Hillary destroyed 33 emails after the subpoena, after they were court ordered, or Congress ordered those, subpoenaed those. She destroyed them and busted up phones with hammers. Is that following, or is that obstructing? That is obstructing.
Okay, well, let's get a response.
Well, first of all, sir, my name is Congresswoman Stacy Plaskett, and what I said was in fact correct, that there is a process for declassification. President Trump cannot unilaterally, in his mind, declassify documents. He has to go through a process, the process and the law, just like everyone else. And he did not do that. And he did, in fact, obstruct justice by not following a subpoena. We have recordings of him doing that. And many of these were classified documents. There are not classified documents that Hillary Clinton had that she destroyed. And that, in fact, is a fact. And I'm right here on planet Earth.
We'll go to Palmetto, Georgia. Monica, Democratic caller. Hi, Monica.
Hi. My question is, Republicans are running away with this narrative that Hillary Clinton destroyed documents and busted up cell phones with a hammer. Can you respond to that? Is that really true? I mean, it's like, is it true we're just letting these Republicans run away with that narrative and not debunking it because it's out there and people believe it?
All right, Monica.
Okay, thank you. First of all, you're correct. She did not destroy with a hammer cell phones. That's another one of these conspiracy theories that's out there that is not in fact true. And were there emails that were deleted? Yes, they were. But an investigation that was done by the Trump administration found, in fact, that those were not intentionally deleted to subvert a subpoena, and they were not classified documents. Let's remember that at the end of the day, Trump is not being was not indicted by his peers, by other Americans, for the boxes and boxes of documents that he had. He has 31 counts of indictment for classified material that in fact is detrimental to him possessing, is detrimental and can cause great harm to the national security of our country.
Congresswoman Stacy Plaskett, appreciate the conversation with you this morning and your time. Thank you.
Thanks so much. You have a great one.
You too.